According to a recent Brookings Institution report, economic experts and officials within President Joe Biden's administration have expressed concerns over the unfavorable assessment of his economic management. However, they subsequently concluded that job growth in the United States has been robust for several months, with nearly full employment over the past year, as the number of Americans entering the workforce continues to rise, and the labor force participation rate has exceeded expectations. Additionally, President Biden successfully negotiated a landmark economic bill aimed at investing in infrastructure and advanced manufacturing. Nevertheless, why haven't these reports made Americans more optimistic and cheerful about the country's economic situation? Let's explore this further in today's program. A recently released report from the U.S. Census Bureau has helped address this question. Put simply, after adjusting for inflation, the income of most American households saw a significant decline in the past year. For middle-class households, the decrease amounted to 2.3%, dropping from $76,330 in 2021 to $74,580 in 2022. In total, approximately 7 out of 10 households, representing about 3/4 of American voters, experienced an income reduction. This income decline was widespread, affecting both men and women, married couples, as well as single-parent and single-person households, and full-time and part-time workers alike. Despite the income drop, the number of full-time workers increased rapidly, doubling the overall labor force, and workers' wages grew by 4.6% in 2022. However, the 7.8% inflation rate significantly outpaced wage growth, making it difficult for most households to shop as freely as they did in the previous year. Americans have noticed this decline, and they are not happy about it. As the Census Bureau's report reveals, the decline in 2022 appears to have longer-term implications. After reaching $78,250 in 2019, household incomes dropped to $76,662, primarily due to the impacts of the pandemic, and stabilized in 2021 before declining again in 2022. The purchasing power of the average household at the end of 2022 was 4.7% lower than it was 3 years prior. The stability in 2021 was largely thanks to the government's massive relief efforts, including the Democratic Party's American Rescue Plan and the continued impact of bipartisan economic support measures in the final year of the former President Donald Trump's administration. Many of these relief funds were distributed through tax codes and gradually reduced in 2022, resulting in reduced household incomes. Consequently, after taxes, household incomes saw a staggering 8.8% decline in 2022, specifically 8.5% for white Americans, 8.6% for people of color, and 10.9% for Hispanic Americans. Perspectives on the nation and the economy often go hand in hand. In a CNN survey conducted in April, when asked to explain their views on what is happening in the United States today, 35% said that everything is going well, while 52% said that things are going poorly, and the majority of these respondents cited economic factors as a significant concern. The fear of inflation is what has made Americans dissatisfied with the country's economy. It has been a long time since Americans experienced significant inflation like in the recent period. Even if inflation subsides later this year, it signals many new and serious risks to their well-being. In other words, the issue is not just that inflation erodes wage increases when the cost of the things they need have significantly risen. In addition, inflation creates another worrisome instability in the already risky lives of Americans. Moreover, experts are highly conflicted in how to address the issue. The most familiar tool to control inflation is raising interest rates, but it also comes with significant risks. Americans not only have to contend with existing and new risks, but most of them also lack confidence in their leaders' ability to address these threats. Over the past few decades, the percentage of Americans who believe they have a voice in government decisions has declined significantly. Instead, Americans increasingly perceive the government as working to serve larger interests rather than the interests of the people. In a Navigator research survey conducted in February, 70% of Americans said that resolving their financial issues was very stressful. However, an even larger proportion, 72%, reported feeling stressed about political matters. Indeed, the most pressing concerns Americans are experiencing today are related to collective actions rather than individual ones, such as stress related to public health amid the pandemic, and global stressors like climate change and international conflicts, which outweigh stressors related to career, family, and personal matters. But according to the Brookings Institution, the toughest period for American households may have passed. Based on the trends over the past 12 months, the inflation rate in 2023 is projected to be significantly lower than in 2022. Meanwhile, wage growth continues to be relatively strong at 4.3%, surpassing inflation for the first time in recent months since the spring of 2021. Furthermore, the impact of government subsidy reductions in 2023 will be much smaller than in 2022, and workers may start to feel the effects of some economic policies. Public perceptions of the economy often run deeply polarized, influenced by their political beliefs, leading to divergent conclusions. In a CNN survey, 91% of Republican Party members stated that everything in the United States is getting worse. Among those who believe that everything is going poorly, 11% attribute to the President Biden's leadership or the Democratic Party, while a smaller percentage cite the Congress or the entire government. Among those who believe that everything is going well, 5% express trust in President Biden and the Democratic Party, and 6% make opposing remarks about former President Donald Trump. Others view polarization as the main issue. Among those who think everything in the U.S. is going poorly, 7% say it's because they are concerned about political or social divisions in the country. Historical statistics show that voters are highly sensitive to changes in purchasing power. If household incomes adjusted for inflation continue to rise in the next 12 months, the public may give President Biden higher marks for his economic management skills than he is currently receiving, although significant hurdles for his re-election prospects may still remain. If this doesn't happen, Republican Party opponents will argue that he is struggling to manage the economy, which could be a decisive factor in President Biden's ability to run for a re-election. Certainly, every voter has different levels of dissatisfaction with the current economy. Less affluent voters often express more concern about inflation than wealthier individuals. And this is a reasonable concern as they are the ones with the most fragile financial resources. African Americans have become significantly more negative about the economy and President Biden since 2020. This group have consistently felt the heaviest impact of economic changes, enduring significant losses due to the pandemic, and become increasingly disillusioned over the pace of economic structural change. However, in stark contrast to the widespread dissatisfaction with the state of the country, most individual Americans tend to be relatively satisfied with their own lives. And those who believe that everything is going well in the country often list positive aspects of their lives. And that has concluded today's program. Thank you for your attention. Goodbye and see you again.